Hey YouTube, this is Southern Purple 1. I'm getting very close to going over to Patreon. I do not want to go to Patreon. If you know me, I hate technology. The most I can do is put a video up. I don't even edit my videos because I don't know how to. So going to Patreon is something that I'm dreading. But I need to do it because there's so much truth that I need to put out. And you can't speak the truth on YouTube. Which in itself is scary. But you might say, well, YouTube is owned by YouTube. Correct, it is. But not being able to put the truth out and only putting out what they want you to put out is mind-blowing, literally. But that's not the video. Today, I want to talk about, I've seen their plan, and I've seen their plan in action. And when I was seeing their plan happen, unfold in a real world situation, this was a long time ago, I didn't know it was their plan. But as I get older, I can look back and say, whoa, what happened back then is happening right now. And they've done it many, many times, and they will continue to do it. Let me take you back to 1994. I was a news junkie back then as a young man, and I'd always watch the national news. We didn't have cable at my house. We didn't have internet. That was probably too far back, but we just never had it. So at 6:30, I would watch the national news. It was a big part of my day to see what was going on. And I remember the photographs. I remember the videos. Take you back to Rwanda. Rwanda in 1994 had about 7 million people. It was made up of the Hutus, about 85%, the Tutsis, about 14%, and then 1% others, another small minority group. So definitely the Hutus were the larger group of people there. On April 6, 1994, the Hutu president was flying and his plane, I believe, was shot down. That resulted in the start of this campaign of slaughter. Now, some people have said that the Hutu shot their own plane down so they could initiate this campaign of terror, a well-organized campaign. Not just something after the plane crashed and the guy was dead that they thought of, oh, let's do this. No, this was a definitely planned. Where else have we seen where a government would let something happen so they could get the people on their side? Immediately when this happened, there was a slaughter. It took about 100 days. They set up roadblocks, and the Hutu majority started slaughtering the Tutsi minority. It was very easy on these roadblocks because the government issued ID had your ethnic group on there. Does that sound familiar? Anywhere you go, anything you do, you need to list your ethnicity on that thing. Are you white, black, Hispanic, whatever? The government is very, very keen to making sure that information's on everything you do. So when you went through a roadblock in April 6th, 7th, 8th, guess what? You were pulled out of your car if you were a Tutsi and you were slaughtered. The weapon of choice was a machete. They went door to door looking for Tutsis. The husbands of the Hutu husbands had to kill their Tutsis' wives. You had to kill your wife if she was at another ethnic group. If not, your whole family would be killed. So lots of husbands killed their wives for fear of the rest of their family being killed. Does that sound familiar about turning in relatives? Just think about it. The government wants us to turn in the crazy uncle that might like freedom, and they're pushing turn in extremists. Back then, they didn't turn you in, they slaughtered you. It was very easy to get people to slaughter because they had an organization already. They had a big youth movement. So this youth movement was given lists of names, and they were given weapons to carry this out. These weapons were really not the machete, because the machete was a common item found in Rwanda. They were given weapons so they could definitely do this more efficiently. And this was their youth wing. So they went around slaughtering people. They had the list. If your name was on it, you got slaughtered. Is the youth of America definitely programmed in one direction? If you look at the rallies that we've had and the protests, a majority of those people there tend to be white people, white youth. So if you can push that argument that we do have a youth movement that is very angry, and they can do whatever they want to do. So the slaughtering continued for about 100 days. Also, the newspapers, big newspapers, would publish lists of the enemy, of the Tutsis. The news and the radio would put out names of Tutsis that need to be killed. Does that sound familiar? Is the internet used right now? If you're a Trump supporter, you are definitely dimed out. If you do anything on the right side, they'll dime you out on the internet. So I mean, I'm seeing this pattern here. What happened back then, going forward, that the same things are happening. So after about 100 days, we had 800,000 to 1 million people killed. You might say, well, it was all Tutsis. No, it wasn't. The Hutus killed, any moderate Hutu was killed. Does that sound familiar? If a black conservative steps up, they're labeled all kinds of things. So it's not, really your skin color. It's also what you believe. So I'm just look back and I see that pattern. I didn't know that pattern back in 1994 when I was watching it live on TV. But as I look at it now, there's so many things. They use the media. They use a youth movement. They used the government issued IDs, had your ethnic group on it. You couldn't lie. You couldn't say, no, I'm not that ethnic group. It was on that card. There's so many more incidents or more situations that I could talk about. So there's nothing new coming down the pipe. Nothing. It's all been done a million times. What I'm trying to say is, be prepared. You might say, well, it'll never happen. I guaranteed you, if you asked back in 1993, if something like that could have happened in 100 days, 1 million people could have been killed in Rwanda. And remember, they only had about 7 million people, so 1 out of 7 people. That's phenomenal numbers. Phenomenal. If you did 1 out of 7 in America, there would be a massacre beyond human comprehension. You couldn't even bury the bodies. So just want to point this out. There's nothing new under the sun. It's all happened before. Thanks for watching.